Have you ever sat back and actually wondered why some cats who literally have jack squat compared to everyone else end up fighting so hard that they straight up own the entire damn world? What kind of insane fire was burning inside Lionel Messi when every single person looked at him, pointed at his messed up growth hormone condition, and laughed right in his face, saying he was way too short to ever make it? Did little Messi pack his bags and quit? Hell no. He stayed in the fight and turned himself into the living legend whose name the whole damn planet screams out with pure awe. The story of Messi isn't just about some guy chasing a stupid round ball across a pitch. It's about a human being who grabs you by the collar and teaches you how to bounce right back up when life stomps your plans straight into the mud, pulling off a comeback that nobody saw coming. Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt like your height, your completely trash circumstances, your empty pockets, or having zero options in life is holding you back from making it big? If your answer is yes, you better glue your eyes to this screen until the absolute last second of this video, because I'm about to completely rewire how you look at your failures for the rest of your life. Let's rewind the tape way back to the dusty streets of Rosario, Argentina, where absolutely nobody, let me repeat, nobody, could have ever dreamed that this skinny, underfed, fragile kid named Messi was going to morph into the literal god of football. Little Leo was tiny, way smaller than every single kid running around his block. Down at the local neighborhood pitch, while all the other kids were growing normally and tearing up the turf, Messi had to deal with a brutal medical nightmare, jabbing needles filled with growth hormones into his legs every single night just so he could squeeze out a pathetic few centimeters of height. Just picture that for a second. A 12-year-old kid who was head over heels in love with football, pumping needles into his own flesh with his own two hands every night, praying to God that maybe, just maybe, he could run like a normal human being tomorrow. Most weaklings would have folded right there at that exact moment, dropped to their knees, and whined, "Well, I guess this is just my crappy fate, destiny didn't want it for me." But Messi had an unspoken rule carved deep into his soul that most people are way too lazy to adopt. No matter how harsh, unfair, or utterly messed up your life circumstances are, you have zero right to sit around making excuses. This is the very first massive life lesson you need to lock into your brain right now. The universe doesn't give a single damn about your problems, your shortcomings, or your bad luck. The only thing the universe cares about is how you respond when you're under pressure. But Messi's story didn't stop there. Hold on to your seats because I'm about to drop a much harsher truth on you that you've probably never heard anywhere else. Argentine clubs looked at Leo and turned him down one after another like garbage. They pointed at him and said, "This kid is way too fragile. The first hard tackle is going to shatter his little bones into pieces. His medical treatment costs a fortune. He's totally useless to us." Imagine loving something with every single fiber of your being, only to have your own backyard slam doors right in your face and tell you that you don't have what it takes. Then, out of absolute nowhere, Barcelona stepped up and said, "We'll pay for your treatment, pack your bags and get your ass over to Spain." At just 13 years old, with zero knowledge of the language, thousands of miles away from his family, and totally cut off from all his friends, little Messi boarded a plane and flew into a completely foreign land. Do you think everything was sunshine and rainbows over there? Hell no. In exile, crushing homesickness, suffocating loneliness, and brutal, soul-crushing training sessions pushed Messi right to the absolute edge of a mental breakdown. Most of us, at the very first sign of an argument, the first time we stumble on a sidewalk, or the first door that gets slammed in our faces, come crawling back home crying and saying, "It just wasn't meant to be." But Messi teaches us what real, hardcore resilience looks like. Resilience means isolation. It means crying your eyes out alone in a dark room, but then waking up the next morning, wiping your tears, and marching right back out to training with absolute fire to rip the opponent's net to shreds. Now, take a long, honest look at yourself for a second. At the very first tiny hiccup in your business, your relationship, or your studies, how much do you bitch and moan? How much do you cry about having bad luck? Messi hands us an absolute masterclass in psychology called focusing strictly on your circle of control. Messi never wasted a single second crying about why he wasn't tall, or why Argentine clubs turned their backs on him. Messi put 100% of his relentless focus exclusively on the things he could actually control: his technique, his non-stop training, and how he struck the damn ball. This is precisely where the gap between ordinary losers and legendary icons gets exposed. An ordinary person goes around hunting for someone else to blame for their misery, but a successful savage like Messi takes the stones thrown at their path and builds a bridge right across the terrifying abyss. When young Messi finally broke into the first team at Barcelona, a whole bunch of people thought, all right, that's it, the kid finally reached the summit and made it. But the real magic of Messi was only just beginning. What is the ultimate secret behind Messi's success? Did you honestly think that because he possessed natural talent, he didn't need to sweat and grind? That is the biggest lie you could ever feed your own brain about successful individuals. Pep Guardiola once shared a wild story about Messi that completely shatters every single excuse in your book. Guardiola said it was 3 o'clock in the morning, a heavy, freezing rain was pouring down like crazy, and everyone else across the city was fast asleep in their warm, cozy beds. Guardiola happened to glance out his window and saw a lone figure out on the club's training pitch, completely by himself under that heavy, freezing rain, practicing free kicks over and over again until his feet bled. When Guardiola walked closer, he realized it was Messi himself. A player who had already conquered every Ballon d'Or on earth, a player whom the entire globe was worshipping and cheering for, was out there at midnight training like a starving amateur who had won jack shit. This is the exact moment you need to ask yourself, how far are you actually willing to go for the thing you love? Are you only working when you feel motivated, or are you grinding for your dreams even when nobody is watching you and nobody is standing around to cheer your name? This is the exact boundary line that separates absolute failure from true greatness. Real consistency means pushing yourself to take one more brutal step right when you're completely exhausted, right when you feel like giving up. Let me pull back another layer of Messi's life that very few people pay attention to, a layer that proves even absolute legends fall flat on their faces, break down in tears, and get pushed to the brink of total destruction. Years rolled by and Messi won everything under the sun with Barcelona, but his journey with the Argentina national team was a living, breathing nightmare. His own countrymen, the very people who were supposed to worship him like a god, threw heavy stones at him every single day. They told Messi that he was only a star when he was coddled in Barcelona, that he was utterly useless for Argentina, that he lacked passion, and that he simply didn't give a damn. The crushing weight of media pressure, ungrateful fans spitting insults at him on the streets, and heartbreaking finals where Messi lost back-to-back tournaments and missed out on ultimate glory completely broke him. In 2016, following another devastating defeat in the Copa America final, a completely shattered Messi looked straight into the cameras and declared, "That's it, my time with the national team is done." He retired. A man who had conquered the entire football world bent his knee and snapped under the brutal burden of his own people's cruel blame. This brings us to a massive, critical checkpoint. Have you ever thought about how you are supposed to stand back up when the whole world is pointing fingers and telling you that you're a total failure? A lot of people mistakenly think that successful people never lose hope. Total nonsense. Despair comes for everyone, even for a global icon like Lionel Messi. The difference between a successful person like Messi and everyone else is that a winner accepts the crushing feeling of despair, but refuses to let it become permanent. They treat it as temporary traffic. Messi came back. Why? Because Messi realized that running away from the battlefield hurts a million times more than taking the scars while fighting. He pulled the Argentina jersey back over his chest, fought with every ounce of his soul, and in 2022 over in Qatar, with the entire planet holding its breath, Messi finally lifted the World Cup high into the air. The image of Messi after that match wasn't just the picture of a happy player, it was the portrait of a man who had waded through a sea of pain, brutal failures, vicious insults, and devastating heartbreaks to prove to everyone that wanting something badly enough brings it to life, as long as you refuse to surrender until the very last second. Now let's look in the mirror and be completely, brutally honest with ourselves. How much longer are you going to hide behind pathetic excuses like your circumstances are terrible, the economy is ruined, your family isn't supporting you, or you just don't have enough natural talent? Messi didn't start with towering height, he didn't have millions in the bank as a kid, he didn't have VIP connections, and his road through life was anything but smooth. The only thing Messi possessed was a fierce, unshakable belief in his own core and an iron discipline that no storm could ever extinguish. I didn't record this video just for you to sit back and casually watch a boring, Wikipedia-style biography of Messi. This video is a mirror held right up to your face. The real magic resides right inside your own life. Starting from today, starting from this exact second that my voice hits your ears, stop making excuses and stop whining like a baby. Instead of sitting around waiting for a miracle to fall from the sky, become the miracle of your own life. Put all your energy into the things you can actually change. Get 1% better than you were yesterday, and when everyone tells you that you can't do it, show them with a calm smile just how dead wrong they were. Stand up, build your own path, and don't let anything stand in the way of your dreams, because in the game of life, you are the only one holding the pen to write the final chapter of your story.